Bene's Bloody Bits.
Welcome, everyone out there. It's Sunday, and Malcolm is in his new pad. Looks good, man. Looks like you have a lot of space back there.
Yeah, I got a lot of space. A lot more than I expected, actually. So it's a big mess. So I apologise to everybody ahead of time.
Oh, no, don't worry.
It's called sorting it out.
It's a Sunday on my channel. Maybe we'll have some viewers. We'll see. But I want to do this video because there's still thousands of movies that have never been put on Blu-ray. Forget 4K for a second, because I don't worship at the altar of 4K like a lot of people do. I'm still looking at Blu-ray, and that's what I'm content with. But I wanted to have a conversation, you and I, about movies that we really want on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I wanted us both to come up with like our top 5. And I try to do my research. I'm sure you did too. If there's any movies that we mention that are actually available, let us know in the comments. I like to think they're not.
Well, you know, there could be one we mentioned, but could be like, on Blu-ray in like India, or you never know, because sometimes but they have to be genuine Blu-rays. It can't be some sort of Blu-ray R or whatnot, because that makes no sense.
Well, it's possible if you go to like Paris and you go to some video store, you might find some German media book of it. I don't know. I would like to think if any of my picks are available on Blu-ray, by this point, I would own them.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that about your top 5?
Yeah, because, as you know, I buy from all over the world anyway. So, I think all my titles are not on Blu-ray. And I think they should all be on Blu-ray. There are HDs of some of them, though, available on places like Amazon and to watch on the streaming. So, which was surprising.
Want to say what's up to Mason? He made a comment there.
What's up, Mason?
All right, so let's get started. And I'll go ahead, and since I got a movie behind me called Playroom. It's 1990. Horror film with some supernatural elements. It's directed by Manny Cotto. Now you might be like, who's that guy? He's actually most famous for directing Dr. Giggles.
Oh.
And he was a producer on American Horror Story and Dexter. He did pass away a couple years ago, but this film I actually like more than Dr. Giggles. It's not been available. It was never even put on DVD. It's through Republic Pictures, which means it's owned by Paramount. And I know a lot of our favorite boutique labels have gotten in with Paramount. So I'm thinking sooner or later this film's going to come out. Have you ever heard of it or seen it?
I've heard of it. I know the director from the credits you mentioned. Malcolm Harvey in that. But I've not actually seen the film. I know the picture though. The cover picture. I've seen that face.
Yeah, that's like the monster in the film. You can kind of see it in 2 different spots. And it's got, who's her name? Kimberly Beck. She was in Friday the 13th, the final chapter. She's got a small part in the film. And it's just fun. It's not great necessarily. It's just a fun kind of throwback monster film. Which you'd watch.
The question is there nudity?
I've only watched it once, and that was a bootleg copy. I don't recall, but...
Well, then I will never watch it, I'm afraid.
Oh, whatever. Come on now. you would stray away because of the non-nudity? You sound like me now.
How can you have a film called Playroom and not have any playing going on? I mean, come on.
Adult Playroom. It's more of that's where the monster, that's his lair. So...
but he doesn't touch and rip clothes off.
Well, you're in the wrong playroom there, Malcolm. So that's my random pick. Mines are not in order, by the way, from 1 to 5. I just kind of throwing them out there as we go.
Yeah, okay. I've got to remember mine. What were mine?
Okay, well, here we go. Let's go to your first pick. You ready?
All right, let's go for my first pick. Come on, let's do it.
Let me see. What do I have here?
Oh, Coldplay.
Yes, go, sir. It's all the
All
stage
right,
is yours.
Coldplay 1 and 2 got put together because basically they connect over the same film, even though the third one, I believe, is like a prequel. I believe. Do I remember when they come out? Nah, probably in the 2000s, early 2000s. They're foreign. And basically what happens is they go to this result kind of thing, like, what's it called?
Hostel Touristas.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they do like the ice sliding, the thing. It's like that. And basically, one of them gets injured, and they go into this place, and there's no one there. It's empty, right? But you feel this horrible tension, and you feel these horrible things, as you can only get really in a foreign film. That foreign kind of atmosphere. Again, I wish I could remember the bloody country because I'm a bit brain dead at the minute, so I apologise.
Hey, you've been
It's been a
moving.
rough
So you have no brain cells left after moving.
Yeah, it's been a rough day. I've been asleep twice. So basically these things happen, right? And people get killed off in these really gruesome ways. And it's a really good film. The second film that follows on from it, because I've put them together, because technically it's like a double bill, they connect same time. One ends at the hospital, they've been helped, and then it starts happening again. And it's a really, really good film. I highly recommend them. Now, the sad part is there is a Blu-ray of, I believe, 1 and 2. I'm not sure if number 3 is in there, but it's got no subtitles. So you have to know the language in order to watch it. So I'm hoping someone like Vinegar Syndrome release it, because I think it's one of those duos, and throw the third one in if you want to, but you really only need the first two to really get into it. And I think there is some nudity in it, which is always a good, especially in the cold weather. We get a bit of nip, you know what I mean? And I believe it's a very good movie. Now, I ain't seen it since 2005, I think. So yeah, because I looked at my collection, I don't own it on DVD.
So there are 3 Coldplay films. They're all sequels, right? There's no prequel. It's just sequelized one.
No, I believe the second one is the direct sequel, so it follows on. And I believe the third one is kind of like a prequel to tell you how it happened, like how that person, a bit like Hills of Ice, like how did the Hills of Ice start, kind of thing, which is really good, but it doesn't stand out as much as the first two, because I think once you get to know why they're there, it kind of takes away from the mystery element.
Is it more survival horror, or is it a creature feature?
Survival.
Got you. So we're talking more psychological thriller, but a horror film nonetheless.
But the horror's there because it's like a slasher, you know what I mean? So
3 films kind of been put out, but you said no subtitles. So you really want a more complete version. You almost feel like that doesn't count, the version that was put out.
Exactly, because 1 and 2 came in a DVD over here together. You could get them together in the DVD, like double pack, but you couldn't get the third one. So that's why 1 and 2 are always so memorable, because obviously you watched the first one, Peg, and watched the second one, didn't you? And the fact that they follow on. So,
all right. So let's move on to, let's see, what do I have next up?
Ooh, Nightlife. That's from the director, isn't it, of the Star Wars Christmas special?
You said that. Okay, so this film, I first read about it in Gore Zone magazine. It actually has a quote. You can't see it on the right side, the upper corner there. That's from Tony Timpone, who was the editor of Fangoria.
Nightlife is the most original, offbeat, and entertaining zombie film in years, and it better have some nudity.
There is something a little bit, but here, this film came out in '89. I probably didn't get to see it until early '90s. It hasn't been available since Laserdisc and VHS. To put in perspective,
oh, you really played it here, didn't you?
30 years. I bought it at Blockbuster Video for like $90 because that was the only way it was available. You have to remember, not everything came out way back when. It's got Scott Grimes from Critters and Critters 2. It's got Darcy. getting those names mixed up. Darcy DeMoss from Jason Lives. And it's a fun camp zombie comedy from 1989. I think it's like the last great zombie film of the 80s. The problem, Malcolm, no one has seen it. It's not been available. I'm sure you could pull it up on YouTube and someone's uploaded some crummy VHS copy.
Yeah, but you want to see it real quality, don't you? Like proper.
It's people don't know of it because it hasn't been available, but I think it has a cult following written all over it. If somebody puts it out on Blu-ray, it's got gore, it's got some hot girls. I mean, long story short, Scott Grimes' character, he's kind of a lonely guy, outcast in high school. He works at his uncle's who's coroner, works on bodies and stuff. They bring him in, and it's not what he wants to be doing, but it keeps him busy. And his uncle is John Austin from the Addams Family.
Yeah.
So some of the high school people that he doesn't like, and one of the girls that he does, it's a group of 4, get into a car wreck. They bring their bodies in, store them away in the freezers, and electricity hits, and bam, they come back to life. It's a simple story, but it works so well. There's a scene with the bridge, and it's the same bridge from The Lost Boys. Ooh. Where they're hanging on the bridge. It's literally the same one.
I love that thing.
It's actually one of my favorites, probably one of my top 5 of the 80s, but I didn't see it till the 90s.
Wow.
I'm assuming you've never seen it?
Never seen it, but I've heard of it. Obviously, that's what someone said about the director and all this other stuff. But I've never seen it. Never seen it on VHS, never seen it around. Just kind of, I think I read about it originally on a blog, someone's blog, when they did like a review of comparing things years ago. Because it's a very easy title to remember.
All the years I've worked at video stores, it never was available for rent. I had to go into the computer and look it up and get on the phone and place an actual order to buy it. And the ironic thing is the people you would speak to, they would go, you know what the price is, right? They'd be like, oh, it's $90, it's $80. I'm like, yes. Do they, sometimes that's what you had to do if you really wanted to watch something. And it's such a good film, man. I don't know. It might be an Elements issue. I've heard rumors that it might be Elements.
Who released it? What company released it?
It was Columbia TriStar that put it out on VHS. Now, that was 3 decades ago, so who knows who in the hell owns the rights to it. But anybody out there from boutique label land watching, go after this one. It's
Imagine the 5th volume of the Columbia TriStar sets, 4K. After Taxi Driver, Kramer versus Kramer, and then you've got Nightlife.
And don't confuse this Nightlife with the 80s. I think there's another movie called that, Nightlife, around the same time. It's not the same film.
If there isn't, there's a crime, because let's be honest, it's a very generic, easy title for, That's what Cruising should have been called, Nightlife.
That's my number 2. Let's see what's up next here.
Right, here we go.
I think this one I had to use some I had to make those hearts because I took the image from IMDb.
Yes, Melvin, son of Melvin.
I had to put the hearts on there without getting in trouble, but IMDb showed the breast and the butt. Then I was like, I can't put that on YouTube.
Melvin, the son of Melvin. This is classic. This is one of the greatest comedies of all time from Australia.
Wait.
Umbrella.
Sorry.
Why Umbrella hasn't released this yet is unbelievable. Now, I believe this is probably from the 80s because I looked at the date, but it technically comes from the Alvin Purple movies, because there was Alvin Purple, and Alvin Purple, I think it's called Rides Again, which are released on DVD in Australia by Umbrella. So what happened for me was my dad was a connoisseur of perverted movies, right, and sex comedies. He loved them, obsessed with them. So one day he comes home with a VHS called Foreplay, which is the UK title for Melvin, Son of Elvin. it was in the cupboard for years, and basically what it's got him with his zipper undone, and basically a woman's hand holding like a big hand, like pulling the zipper down. And me being a young guy, I thought, oh yeah, we're gonna get some, adult entertainment. I put it in, and the movie's phenomenal. This is one of those movies where I get really annoyed when Umbrella announce the same old rubbish, especially the American stuff, when they've got tons of Australian films over there they could release, So people might go, American films are not rubbish. No, they're not. But when it's in Australia, you want Australia to release Australian films, right? So let's talk about the film. It starts off with the mum giving birth to him, and all the women then, including nurses, getting their breasts out to breastfeed him, right? And playing with his Tiddlywinkel. Now, if you see that at the beginning, I'm going to love the film, right? So the film carries on. He gets older, and women are obsessed with him. They can't get enough of him. There's this real kind of like sexual pull where they all want to grab hold of him. They all want him to bang him, but he's a virgin, right? And he's horrified. He's scared of women, right? And he meets this really beautiful woman who's a biker chick, who's like the most gorgeous one you could ever see, right? Along the way, they're trying to find Alvin because they want to reunite him with his son for this TV program. You've got a weightlifter guy who can rip up a phone book while doing push-ups of it on his manhood, all right? And it just goes completely mental. Like there's bits where women are flashing it and constantly throughout the movie. He's sitting in a cinema screen, and a woman leans over and goes, "Hi, can I ask you something?" He goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "What do you do, mate?" And they're all chasing after him out the thing. The mother of the woman with the girl on the bike throws a plum up some girl's butt. There's a donkey marriage with a girl where they get married.
It sounds like a Joe D'Amato film.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And then there's the purple people, right? Who are like this cult. They grab hold of him because they're obsessed with his dad, Alvin Purple, and they put these things in his eyes like a clockwork orange. And he goes, "I want a woman" at one point, and he lifts up this really oldie woman, like, "Whoa," and starts walking with her, and he basically slips and slides away. She's like, "No." It's a perfect comedy movie that everybody needs to see on at least a Blu-ray, because this movie could be in a trilogy set with the other two, and this should be like a Vinegar Syndrome kind of thing where they have like a massive box set with all these extras, because this is what you call real exploitive, hilarious comedy cinema.
I didn't include it in my 5 picks, but the one I was tempted to, if I did top 6, is a sex comedy from the 70s with Marty Feldman called Sex with a Smile, directed by Sergio Martino, and it has what's her name? That beautiful brunette.
Finish?
There you go. Thank you. That one I saw on VHS. So this movie kind of has echoes just by the artwork of that kind of like not raunchy, but just enough, to keep you interested the whole running time. So you said somebody's going to put this out on Blu-ray that has the rights to it?
They're not putting it on Blu-ray. I wish they had the rights, but they must have something because they've got the other two. But, coming out probably years later, probably a decade or so later, maybe, it might be different rights holders. It could be this. I just think it's going because technically Alvin Purple is a massive thing in Australia. Because for over here, it's Timmy Leigh with the Confessions films. Over there, it's Alvin Purple. In America, it's God knows whoever,
So this one I'm interested in. When I saw the artwork, I was like, yeah, I need to seek this one out. Let's move on to what's my next pick. What do I have? Oh boy.
Oh boy. Hey, hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2.
So Prom Night 2 is easily the best and my favorite of that series.
The first one's the best. This is
the first film. If Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in Prom Night.
No, if Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't, it'd still be brilliant. Jenny Curtis is unmemorable in that movie up there doing that dancing. Number
That's
one, all the way.
I like my Jamie Lee Curtis. I like Leslie Nielsen. It's a Canadian horror slasher film, but it's right up there with Terror Train. It's ones that I'm like,
it's brilliant. No,
it's
brilliant.
overrated. Two is just taking the name. Obviously, it really has nothing to do with the original, other than there's a prom. The original title was The Haunting of Hamilton High, but Inventive Kills, Michael Ironside, great nudity. Yes. Nudity, actually, the shower scene with the girl walking around, she's blonde. Yes. I really feel like Kevin Williamson, when he wrote The Faculty, has a very similar scene with the blonde-haired girl.
Yes,
we realize she's an alien.
Well, I believe that's a homage.
Huh?
I believe that's a homage to it. I believe.
Because we know his writing is very much, a wink and a nod to films that came out before. But this one, it's great. It's supernatural. Where the original film, the fourth film, the remake, are kind of set, in real world. Where 2 and 3, I like 3, but it's more comedy horror. Where
it's a lot more comedy, yeah.
Where the Prom Night, Hello Mary Lou is more horror with the comedy, but it's so inventive. Even though it's not a big budget film, there's just so much creativity to it.
Yeah.
And I still own the DVD from MGM that put out like over 20 years ago. I know that Echo Bridge did a DVD set of all of them. Now, I can't say for sure they own the rights to it still. I'm thinking there's a rights issue because as many people, exactly.
It's got to be.
As many people that have asked for Prom Night 2, you would think Arrow, Scream Factory, or Vinegar Syndrome would have put it out by now. So I really feel that there's something going on legally that's keeping it from coming out.
I mean, I'm still shocked for the first movie, not to make this about the first movie, but I'm still shocked that Prom Night 1 over here got released by 101 Films. I'd have thought that would have been an Arrow release. I would have thought they'd have done a box set with like 2, get 3 and 4 in there just because nobody else would want them other than, as continue kind of thing. Like, just have the whole set, I mean. But I remember watching Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2 as a kid on VHS. And it was such a grainy VHS. But I used to think it was something that happened in a nightmare. I didn't think it even existed at one point. And let's be honest, the artwork itself would make a great slipcover or great artwork for a Blu-ray.
I don't forget 4K. Just give me a Blu-ray. Okay, so Greg said, I think I heard something about the rights with it. You're correct. What I heard is that the rights reverted back to the producer. Now it's up to the producer of whether he wants to sell it or he's asking for too much money. But I feel like you pay the money for a movie like that. The DVD looks good, but we need a Blu-ray, man.
I heard for what was it? I heard for basically what they should have done is they should have released 3 and 4. Then they should put the remake in it and called that Hello Mary Lou instead, right? But call it Hello Mary Lou, Come For Me, because I'm going to be put down the low, all right? Because that movie sucks, and this movie needs to be on Blu-ray.
I'll take 2, and you know what? While we're at it, I'll take 3. The DVD version was cut. Don't know why. Some of the gore. 3. Yeah, The Last Kiss. Some of the gore was cut. It's not up to the levels of 2, but
I mean, why can't they do like a 2 and 3 combo pack, kind of thing? That would work. The thing is with these producers is, sorry to cut you up there. The problem with the producers for me is this: why don't you want to make money? This is easy money. There's people out there that say, "Oh, there's some growls they want." This is one of them for a lot of people, like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Lou was a standalone movie in Canada. I believe The Last Kiss, the third film, was also made in Canada with the same just so you know, toot my own horn a little bit. The last printed issue of Gore Zone, I got to interview Bruce Pittman, who directed Prom Night 2.
Oh,
So
what was he like?
I'm proud of that interview. He was great, man. The interview was good. I sent him a copy. He took pictures with it and sent it back to me. It's like one of those, that's why I do interviews. It's not so much about me, it's about the person I'm interviewing in the film itself. Kind of like paying it back for the great memories it gave me. So yeah, man, give me everybody, every time Vinegar Syndrome does a big sell and they give hints that even remotely sound like Prom Night 2, that's the first movie that goes up. That's how bad people want it.
This is what you're not telling people. The only reason you've subscribed 5 years away is because they had one tile in there that sounded like Prom Night 2.
That's the only reason. I've almost been a subscriber for 6 years. Okay, let's go to Malcolm's next movie. What do we have?
Hey!
Another cheeky film.
Learn Popsicle. Forget The Last American Virgin. That can go in the bin. I Learn Popsicle 1 to 7. The greatest Israeli movies of all time. I love them. Right? So there's 7, right? There's 7 if you don't count The Last American Virgin, which I don't because I think that's trash. But so anybody who doesn't know Learn Popsicle, basically you've got Benji, Bobby, and Huey, right? 3 friends. They get into adventures in every single movie. The movies are basically the same movie except different location and different jokes, except Benji falls in love with a girl. Bobby's the playboy, might as well have been the Elvis of the movies, the way he constantly does his hair. And Huey's the poor, overweight guy who can never get off with anybody and basically gets in trouble constantly. So in the first one, you've got Benji, he meets this girl, he falls in love with her. How can you have not seen it? You need to find them. They're amazing.
Malcolm, I've never even heard of this frickin' films. What are you talking about?
What are you on about? You've never heard of them. You say you're an expert this time. You've never heard of them.
I didn't say I was an expert. I'm Lemon Popsicle. I already know those things on the ice cream trucks that go by.
So you're not an expert. So you're not an expert, but I'm a sexpert. Here we go.
Oh.
So, yeah, I can't believe you've never done Popsicle.
What is it? What country?
Israel.
Israeli.
Yeah.
So you're expecting me to know an Israeli? Is it coming of age sex comedy? What do we got here?
They are kind of coming of, basically the first one's like coming of age, but they're full grown men, right? And they basically get adventures and they get with these, like there's Lemon Popsicle, there's Private Popsicle, there's Bubblegum, there's, I think it's Up Your Anchor. There's Going Steady, which is the second one. Baby Love, that's another one. They're all called Lemon Popsicle, but they're all, the side things. So basically they're friends, right? This is how the first story goes. So at the beginning, they're getting off with a woman because they used to always go for a woman at the beginning of the movies. And Benji would get in on it. Bobby would get the full whack. He'd get completely in there. And then Huey would get in there and the husband or partner would come home and start smacking his ass and beating him up. And he'd be like, right? And so then you'd get them basically going around doing these kind of like just these comedy antics. Like Hugh would go and climb over and steal bottles and then resell them back to the shop because they said like in, I believe, like the 50s because of the dance and everything. And they play Elvis songs and they play like famous songs from the time. And I believe that's why they're not on Blu-ray. Because obviously the rights to things like Elvis are going to cost a fortune for places to do now.
Yeah, the music rights will kill it.
Yeah, exactly. So they're free. But they were dubbed. Because when I was younger, we had them on VHS and they were dubbed.
So there's a way of working around it.
Yeah, so that's why I work around. So they had it on VHS. And some of them are great. Like Private Popsicle has Huey get injured and he wants medication. And there's this elderly doctor, all beard and everything. And he goes, "Oh, you're injured, are you?" And she goes, "Go to the table." He starts to do this thing. He's got like this sexy mask on and starts putting lipstick on. He goes, "Come here." And they're like chasing him around and he's kicking him up the bum and everything. It's brilliant. And, when people have never heard of this, I just feel like saying to them, "Where have you been? You must be under a rock." Because everybody knows Last American Virgin, which is basically this remake of the first one.
So these are all films from the 80s, right?
They're from, I believe, late 70s, 80s.
Okay. I'm just basing it off the artwork on the back there. Looking at it, looks like film. So it's okay. So now we need to look that one up. Let me see.
Now, what we'll tell you is these are available in England. They released them on DVD. If you want to buy the DVD collection from a very cheap label, right, it's out of print now and goes for over £100. If you want to buy them directly from Israel, they're subbed. They've got great commentaries on them, and they've got great, like interviews with them as well. The cast. Now, the character who plays Bob, who's the middle one on the bottom of the picture, he is in Schindler's List.
Wow. So he really made a big step from those films to an Academy Award-winning film.
Well, he wasn't a big star. He was just like one of the soldiers, but he was in it.
Hey,
so,
he's in the film.
Yeah, there you go. So, you need to look these up. You need to watch them. I'm sure they're available somewhere. I've got to check something. I've got an eBay listing ending, right, for Body Chemistry 1 and 2. So I've got that on the thing as well. So Ghoulies 3.
I'm not even a fan of Ghoulies 2 or Ghoulies 4. But Ghoulies 3, when they go to college, it is just it's Animal House meets the Ghoulies. You're taking John Carl Buechler, who did the effects on the Ghoulies, getting to direct this film. So this is after Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, and Cellar Dweller. And it's got a great cast. It's got Eva LaRue, who's stupid hot. It's got Kevin McCarthy from the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Ton of nudity. Just literally a fun film. This is the kind of thing that you get friends over and you just have like pizza and beer.
Yeah. And you'd laugh.
Now I know that Vestron, which is now Lionsgate, so anything from Vestron, Vidmark, Trimark is all underneath the Lionsgate umbrella. They did a DVD of 8 films. And 6 of those films have been put on Blu-ray as part of the Vestron collection line. The only 2 missing are Ghoulies 3 and 976 Evil 2, which I want that one too. Didn't make the list. I'm thinking if they still have the rights to it, Lionsgate, why are they waiting? Because they put out other films that are not as cool as this one.
Is it possible that MDVD might release it since they've released 1 and 2 recently on 4K?
I would like to think so. Malcolm, real quick before I forget, somebody wants to know about your YouTube channel. Do you have?
I do have a YouTube channel, Luke. It's May to December. That's MAY, the number 2. December's in the month. So May to December. That's my channel.
Yeah, I think there's got to be something with the rights, man. The DVD set wasn't put out that long ago. Every time they make an announcement, I'm like, Ghoulies 3, and it's never Ghoulies 3.
Like, why not? It's classic. What was the 4th one called?
4th one, I think it was just Ghoulies 4, and it was directed by Jim Wynorski. And the Ghoulies are really more like trolls. They're not really, it's not very good. I mean, it's worth, I guess, to watch it one time. 1 and 2 have their moments, but 3 was like just the best of both worlds. Even Kane Hodder, who's worked with John Buechler before, obviously in The New Blood, the first time he played Jason, he has a very small kind of random part in it, kind of like humor.
You mean he wasn't in Part 2? You mean Kane Hodder wasn't in Part 2?
he could have been. I'm not as familiar with 2, so I don't want to say. It is available on Tubi, but I would rather own Ghoulies 3. I mean, is it one
Yeah.
that you like? Have you seen it? Do you love it?
I saw it. I saw it years ago. Obviously, I'm more what do you call it with 1 and 2 because they've been, around for ages. But some of the scenes in Ghoulies 3 are no. That's when number 3 when they. I'm gonna be wrong on this, aren't I?
It's
Is number 3 gone?
the comic book.
Yeah. I think I saw it on VHS, not on DVD. Because the thing is, a lot. Just the mic in the house. Oi.
There's a scene where a girl's taking a shower and like the ghoulie gets the plunger and like sticks it in her face, and then the makeup kind of attaches to it, and it's just stupid fun. It's like you turn off your brain for 90 minutes. It's just those when they say that saying, they don't make them like they used to. Ghoulies Go to College is absolutely
It's one of those. So, okay, let's ask you this then. So, what one do you think's better? Do you think out of the creatures, do you think it's Ghoulies, the Hobgoblins, or the Critters?
I actually like Critters.
Hmm.
In particular, the first 2 films. Hobgoblins, they're barely in the damn film. Damn, Rick Sloan calls it Hobgoblins. He doesn't give us the Vice Academy nudity, and it's boring. Ghoulies is okay. I think its reputation's a little bit, people give it a little bit too much credit.
So
Critters
you
is
didn't
great.
you didn't like Critters 4 then when they were in space?
No, they're okay. 3 and 4 are decent, actually. I just think 1 and 2 are really good. The main course, which is 2, has grown on me. I just think it helps that Scott Grimes, going back to Nightlife, Scott Grimes is in Critters 1 and 2. You have the bounty hunters, right? The aliens that turn themselves, and one of them is that really sexy woman. And they they were both good enough to go to theaters, right? I mean, this was a different time.
And the young Leonardo DiCaprio was in 1 as well.
Yeah, 1, I think that's 3, and then I think just Angela Bassett's in 4 when they go to space.
Yeah.
So talk about skeletons in the closet, which is something we could do a video on, like famous people before they were stars, and go look back at
that'd be a good one. That'd be a
Tom
good one
Hanks
because
He Knows You're Alone, Jason Alexander in The Burning. We could go on forever, right?
Because you're surprised at me, you say.
So okay, so would you buy Ghoulies 3 if it got put out on Blu-ray?
Yeah, I would. I would, because I love these kind of silly creature movies. I think that's something we're lacking now, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's your turn, Malcolm.
Oh, my turn. Okay. The Cube, I think, is the first Cube. I think is brilliant. I think was it from the late 90s, or was it from the early 2000s?
Cube is 98.
Yeah, I thought it was 98. Because I will always think about Cube Zero, which I believe is 2001.
Well, there was Cube, and then the sequel, Cube 2 Hyper Cube.
Hypercube.
And then I think 2005 was the prequel, Cube Zero. And then, of course, thanks to your lovely subscription to TerrorVision, you got the remake of Cube.
Yes, which is awful, by the way. It's not the film. The film's not awful. What's awful is the CGI in it. Horrendous. Anyway, Cube. So this film, when I first put it on, this did have a Blu-ray, right? Before anybody else says, it did have a Blu-ray in, I believe, the Netherlands, but the Blu-ray is not good. It's not good quality, especially by today's standards of Blu-ray. So I discount it because, in my view, it's not actual Blu-ray quality. So just in case somebody wants to correct that, because I just remembered. So the first Cube is actually really clever. The people, they're stuck in the cube. They don't know how they got there. They got to get from room to escape, right? It's a very simple premise, but the rooms move around. And you don't know what's in each room. So you could go through one and there could be lasers because you don't see it until you're in the room. Now, I'm going to keep saying the room. So you look through. Oh, look, it looks okay. Let's throw a show. Oh, wow, acid. The second room, throw in, oh, look, lasers. But you won't see it unless you're in there. Now, the storyline with the characters to me is really good because I feel like it's one of those films where you have to kind of follow along with it properly, because even though it's just your standard horror, you have to invest in each character to fully feel the emotion at the end. You know, like you're always going to have that bad guy who turns bad, the one who's always going to sacrifice people, this and that. You're always going to have that moment where you just want this kind of like explanation. And what I like about the first Cube is there isn't one. Not really. All you see is this light. And I think that's what makes the film so good. As when you get to the other ones, there is a good twist in Cube Zero. Don't get me wrong, there is a good twist in that. And yeah, that should come on Blu-ray as well as like the extra feature to the extra features, because that's awful. But I think the problem with a lot of these type of films is they give you the answer too easily. And because of that, I think the Cube's brilliant. I think it does need a Blu-ray. I think it needs a real Blu-ray. Exactly. It does. And I think that's why this movie needs a proper Blu-ray. I wish this would have a kind of Shout Factory release with a proper commentary, proper, interviews, because I would love to hear more about the Cube properly. And I feel like this is one of those movies which is underrated by modern statuses compared to movies that you get like the shoddy Night Swim was it this year? That was awful. We need more movies like this to be released, but I think it's because it's not 80s, because it's not like full on 80s and everywhere has these nostalgia trips. For like Shout Factory, you'll find they released 90s and 80s, but you find 80s always sells more. So, but I wish this had a proper release.
And I also think one of the keys to Cube is every room is a different color. Even if the sets were probably not that big, I'm sure because it was a lower budget film, they just changed the color scheme, right? Yeah. So you really weren't going into 8 different rooms, but you feel like you did by the color. And like you said, it's an open ending. And going back to Lionsgate, now this was put on DVD by Trimark, which has been absorbed by Lionsgate. Now, again, doesn't mean Lionsgate still owns the rights to it. I thought I heard rumblings of there was doing some somebody's doing restoration work on Cube. Ooh. The early front runners are like Arrow, but we don't know for sure.
I could imagine Arrow releasing this, actually. It's the perfect artwork for them as well.
Or some people think there might be it is with Lionsgate still, and they're going to put out a box set of all 3 films, the first 3.
They're not going to put the Japanese one in?
No, but they could do like the 3 like they did with like their Wishmaster, set, and then the Warlock and all those sets that they kind of combined them. I could see Lionsgate working on it. Is that a gift?
No, it was a. Did you see it? Did you see the moth?
I didn't catch it.
Oh, stand there now, boy.
I saw you put your hand out. I thought you wanted donations or something. You want me to buy you a coffee or what?
Here's a moth. Buy me a coffee. Yeah, go on then, guys. Buy me a coffee. Right. I'm just waiting because this is how crazy I am, guys. Right. Here I am doing this thing. And I'm waiting to bid on Body Chemistry 1 and 2, which ends in like 1 minute. So I'm just waiting for that. So I'm kind of begging. So just so people don't feel I'm being rude, which I guess it is rude technically, but I want to bid on it because I don't want to lose the chance because they're American. So it's only got like 1 minute. So I'll be done with that. What's this? I can't even see the title.
This is a movie called The Rejuvenator. Came out in 1988. Has makeup effects by Ed French, who's a makeup artist who's done a ton of work. A lot of people are not familiar with it. I've only seen it on bootleg. I don't think it got a DVD release. It's never been put on Blu-ray. The story, basically, it's an aging actress, and she's not going the plastic surgery or Botox route. She goes with something different, and you see the consequences on that artwork. Let me see if I can move a little bit.
Ooh.
That's I feel like it's like your nightlife, man. A lot of people have never heard of it, never seen it. It absolutely fits Vinegar Syndrome more than any other label. If I had to pick one,
That cover screams old DVD.
you know, I could be wrong. It could have got DVD overseas. I don't think it got United States, and the reason I say that is if it did, I would have bought it.
Yeah.
But I think I did pull the DVD cover for this, so it could have got put out somewhere else. It's gory, it's fun, it's late 80s, and again, direct to video. I don't think you've seen it, have you, Malcolm? Because you've never heard of
I've
it.
not seen it. There you go. I'm done with that. Yeah, I've not seen it. The problem with horror in some cases, especially covers like that, is they can come off very similar, but I don't think I've seen it at all.
It even has a quote from Variety on the cover. I'm looking at it right now. Something about saying nice things about
Let's see what it says.
the
It
special
says
effect.
something effects, right?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it probably is available on YouTube. Somebody's probably put it there.
Yeah, but is it edited? That's the question.
Probably not. Hey, look, if it's not available, I'm like, go for it. If you have to go the YouTube route and watch a shoddy copy, because if there's no other way to get it, I mean, what are you going to do? Go buy a VHS copy of it or something? It doesn't make
Hey,
a lot
if you got you don't know. There's people that still collect VHSs, so maybe.
Yeah, but it's I knew I was picking a film that a lot of people probably haven't seen. That's kind of was the point.
She looks like a female Freddy Krueger in the right shot.
I like how they sell it for what it is. The makeup, kind of like the before on the left and the after effects on the right. And I just miss these kind of films, dude. And I really wish.
Yeah, I think this is the problem. Not to go off tangent, but I think the problem is you have so many films like this that had so much heart put into them, and they're not released because of some producer or some other reason. And then you've got like the 5th copy of the same movie being released on Blu-ray for like the umpteenth time, like, the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a shame because films like this, they need to be seen. The fact that I've not seen it is terrible because it's a film I should have seen.
Yeah, but again, it could come down to licensing, the rights. The elements are missing, so what's the point of a Blu-ray? Unfortunately, only the people that work on the inside know. We as fans on the outside think we have it all figured out. But I do agree.
Well,
I'm getting burnt out of one movie I'm looking to get you, Screen Factory,
yeah.
DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, Steelbook,
Laserdisc, VHS. So
it's a little tiring.
By the way, I just want to say, as a co-owner of television, I will work hard for you, Bene, to get this released on Blu-ray for you. Okay?
Okay. You better start putting something good out. Anything's better than the shit that you've been announcing. All right, let's see. What do we have? Boom.
Boom. House of Life and Windows. This is a DVD from Shameless over here, and I'm probably a different company over in America and Canada on that. Maybe Anchor Bay, maybe.
You know what? That's a DVD by Image.
Image, okay.
Image Entertainment.
So there might be a couple of different releases over there. I don't know because I'm a big UK person, aren't I? So over here, Shameless released it. I watched it. It's one of those weird kind of giallos because it's so different in the way it goes, but the atmosphere in it is so good. Like, I don't know why this isn't on Blu-ray. When I look at the Forgotten Jelly sets from Vinegar Syndrome, this should be in there because this is a real giallo. Do you know what I mean? I watched something like Blundering in the Dark and I'm like, what the hell is this garbage? I watched this and I go, this is amazing. It's hard. It's a real hard one to explain, but the atmosphere in it is perfect. The guy turns up in the town. There's windows that open and close, laughing. You see the Joker in the background waving like this. Well, might as well be because it's that horrifying. And there's this whole nun thing going on, and it's real tense and real creepy. If I had to put it up there, I'd say it's up there with Dario Argento, but not in the sense of the direction, but the atmosphere when it comes to like the terror side, the build up.
You guys are going to make my list of movies I've never seen grow. That's absolutely what we're here to do.
Ooh, yeah, that's what I like to hear. I can't believe I've seen this one.
This is why I like doing these videos. If you could educate somebody on one movie they never heard of, but I feel like we've hit on quite a few. I think this movie is going to come through Severin. It just has their name written all over it.
It's
too popular of a title to be. If Vinegar Syndrome did it, they better not put it in the Forgotten Gialli. It needs to kind of be a standalone release. But when it comes to Euro horror and stuff like that, it's got to be Severin. If I had to take my guess.
To me, I mean, I won't be surprised if they announce it this year. Imagine it. They're going to announce it. First 8K disc. House with laughing windows.
I'm just double checking. I think we all both have our 5 movies, don't we? Yep.
Do we? That went quick.
Yeah, it did go quick. Maybe a little bit too quick, but let me go. I just want to keep that as my background. But that was our top 5. Let's talk about. I didn't want to bring up A Nightmare on Elm Street Blu-ray because, my God, of course everybody wants that one on Blu-ray. I don't know if Warner Brother doesn't want to budge. We know Scream Factory wants it bad. They have access to their library. I still have my DVD set, which for something that's about 25 years old, it still holds up well. It's got 3D glasses. But I kind of wanted our list to be something that wasn't Elm Street. Elm Street aside, what are some other ones that you were thinking about putting on your list? Because I didn't want to do top 20 or we'd be here all day.
Okay. Another one I'd like. Can they be anything?
Any genre, don't matter.
All right, Sakura Killers. Sakura Killers.
Is that
that's the Chuck Connors ninja movie. But was brilliant with the 3 ninjas and this thing. I ain't seen it so many years, but I'd love to get on Blu-ray. Now, my colleague Brad. Right, he said we can't get the rights for it, so that kind of bugs me. But I'm gonna get in trouble one of these days for saying this. But
they don't care. They're not watching my video. It's all good.
Unless you put television in the title, then they will. Right? There was that. There's I think The Killer Must Kill Again. I think it's on Blu-ray.
Greg brought up Sorority House Massacre 2 and Hard to Die, Desperate Need Blu-rays. Now, years ago, Jim Wynorski, who's a character, put up like mock artwork that Scream Factory was doing it, and that would make sense because they had access to Roger Corman's library, yet they never put them out. Now, I don't know what's keeping those two from coming to Blu-ray. I don't know.
It's got to be something because the amount you got to think now, right? The amount of boutique labels we've got shooting these titles out, like it's like they've all got diarrhea. It's like boom, 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 boom. You'd think there's got to be a reason, especially the popular ones.
I mean, I don't know if things get more difficult with those Corman titles now that he's passed away. I'm sure it's still in the family within the estate, but we'll see. They never even came out on DVD. I don't know. They might have. No, they did come out on DVD, but Blu-ray, no. And I do like 2, and I don't think I've ever seen Hard to Die. So I would totally be down for a double feature.
A movie that needs to be on Blu-ray: Surf Ninjas.
Surf Ninjas.
With Leslie Nielsen.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
You've never seen Surf Ninjas?
I'm sorry, I don't own 20,000 movies like you do.
It's got Kelly Hu in it in probably the most beautiful time of her life. Such a great movie.
I'm curious. Some of the people that are watching, you guys have any picks? Stuff you want on Blu-ray?
Yeah, give us some picks, guys.
Throw some stuff out there. There's too many.
See? Woo.
Hey, I see, but this is why conversations are great, because you learn something that you didn't know about before.
Well, hopefully 7 Ninjas is on Tubi and then you'll watch it.
I would like to see Porky's The College Years, also known as Pimpin' Pee-wee, directed by Brian Trenchard Smith, was produced by, was it Penthouse or Playboy? But they only made the movie really quick because the contract was going to expire.
It was Penthouse, wasn't it?
Yes, and I think it came out 2009. It's on Tubi. It opens up with the shower scene where they show
the original one.
Right, but it opens the movie with it, where the original you had to wait. It literally opens with the shower scene. It's got a ton of nudity. It's Brian Trenchard Smith. Who knows if we'll ever see a disc release, but Luke says One Man Force from 89.
Nice.
And that's from Shapiro Glickenhaus. So
nice.
You know what? Speaking of Brian Trenchard Smith, damn it, he did a horror film. I can't think of the title. Late 80s. I can see the artwork. Debbie Does Dallas.
Yes. And Deep Throat.
Because Vinegar Syndrome did part 2, right?
Yeah, they did.
Which I bought, but they didn't do the first one.
Did you watch it?
It was decent. It's not like top of the line, they're adult
It's
titles.
quite basic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the
original one's better.
I mean, the one good thing about they put the ones that were filmed, the adult titles, but some of them get, depending on who the guys are in the film, the ladies don't seem to be very satisfied. It's just boring, dude. The girls always look good because it's the ladies, right? But if it's the guys that don't work up any kind of energy,
it reminds me of modern adult films. Pull like Angela White and that, say they like pull like Manuel Ferreira because they really go for it. They've really got that. And Max Dupree in that.
I just thought of one.
Oh, go on then.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You finished, but I'm going to try and remember the title.
All right. I'll try and talk for 20 minutes, see if I forget it. And they go on about how, they really satisfy them by the end. And when you watch adult content, real adult content, you watch it properly, you can normally tell when the difference between the woman actually being into it, as you said, and not into it. And a lot of the 80s, 70s, women are just laying there half the time.
Well, you can tell when they're not acting, when they're not faking their orgasms. You can absolutely see it. No,
I said I was
I wanted to reach out to Kevin Tenney, right?
Yeah.
The director of Night of the Demons and Witchboard, for a career retrospective. And it made me think of 2 other films that totally could have made the list that he directed. One is Peacemaker with Robert Forster.
Oh, yeah.
Which is science fiction, but it's kind of like in that era of I Come in Peace. Yeah. That's never been, at least over here on Blu-ray. Also, going back to Lionsgate, is Pinocchio's Revenge.
Oh, yes.
With, when the ventriloquist doll or whatever is running around, that's Vern Troyer in the suit from Austin Powers. He, when it's running around, that's who it is.
Poor Vern Troyer passed away, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But again, Kevin Tenney, I'm going to go to his films real quick. Always has nudity. There's a great scene where the puppet thing is just watching the babysitter go to the shower. And I'm just like, Kevin Tenney's, every one of his films, regardless of if it's horror, sci-fi, always has that, delivers that.
Even kids' films, he does it.
Strangeland. I think that's also Artisan. I think it's still with Lionsgate.
Strangeland is what Paul classifies as the precursor to Saw.
But Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, right?
I believe so, yeah.
He's got all the piercings, and the nose and the body. It's kind of like capitalizing on what's very common now with that look.
No, I don't think that's even got a DVD over it. I think the DVD I've got of it is an import.
Yeah, there's just I mean, we literally could do a video just on Lionsgate's library. And actually, I talked to this with Greg months ago when I first went on his channel. Was in the 80s. You remember Candid Camera?
Yes.
Playboy Channel, strictly through Playboy Channel, there was, with Alan Funt, because he was still alive, they did something called Candid Camera, and it was nudity. They were punking people. Michelle Bauer was on there, Brink Stevens, a lot of other ladies who were probably.
They loved getting naked back then, didn't they?
And when I worked at Blockbuster Video, though on the new release wall, they kind of shied away from R-rated, NC-17 cuts of things. They kind of would get the edited version. Little did most people know, you went over to the comedy section, there were 6 volumes of this Candid Camera, and everyone had boobs, bush, butts. And again, those were with Lionsgate. Also, Kit Natividad did 2 films, Taking It Off and Taking It All Off, also with Lionsgate. She's ton of nudity. They're just sitting on these titles, and I'm like, I would want to get a job at Lionsgate just so I can go in there and go, look, put these movies out because there's a market for it.
There you go. You go in there, right? You work in there as you sell stuff at the front desk. You just walk in the back and go, you need to release these. 10 minutes later, you're fired.
I just don't think there's a priority on it. I know yesterday on Facebook, Michael Felsher did one of those live videos, and he does a lot of extras for Lionsgate. But I know the rumor was Repossessed with Linda Blair and Leslie Nielsen was kind of in the works, but
classic.
We haven't seen that one yet. I really wish they'd pick it up because I still feel like, I know they still put out theatrically released films, and that's where they make their money. But I wish they wouldn't neglect the home video market. They don't put out enough movies as far as I'm concerned.
But can we just say this, right? The thing that needs to be shown the most on Blu-ray and H definition, saying you mentioned earlier, is the bush. Right? Every movie needs to have a good shot of a good bush. I tell you, I was watching the film earlier, and when her bush came out and she was walking towards the screen, I was like, take me to heaven, because that's what I want to say. All that furriness,
Okay, Greg says Kino announced they're releasing Repossessed on Blu-ray, which means Kino has some licensing deal with Lionsgate, because Lionsgate did put that on DVD. So
Repossessed is one of his better movies, if you ask me, when it comes to that time.
Maybe it's Kino that ends up putting out 976, Evil 2, Ghoulies 3, Demon Warp, all these films that we're kind of talking about.
I feel like Kino is very underrated at the minute with how well they're doing.
I do like their extra features. I think their slipcovers suck and they're cheap. Actually, so are Vestrons. I mean, I know, and they don't give, not all the time, they don't always separate the artwork. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
With Kino, sometimes it's exactly the same. And I'm like, why
bother?
Not just give us the alternative to
and it tears easily, their slipcover.
And I know slipcovers don't make the film. It's the film and the extra features. I get it. But if you're going to put a slipcover, I know when they did the 4K of Underworld, one side was Underworld, the other side was Transmutations. And I'm like, cool. A little bit more bang for your buck. Give us the alternative. I like Kino, but I don't, get a hard on for them like a lot of people do.
Okay. What label do you get a hard on for then?
The only one I have subscription for, which is Vinegar Syndrome. I mean, even the sale that's going on now, I've heard it's underwhelming. No, it's not. We have it so good that it feels underwhelming when not every movie that's announced is something that we have to have. I think we've gotten to a point. If you look at their announcements, a little bit of every genre. You have some action. You have some, kung action. You got horror. You got a double feature that harks back to what Vinegar Syndrome started on, which is kind of
Yeah,
regional
true.
horror, right? Regional horror,
Yeah.
like 70s and stuff. So yeah, while nothing blew me away, it still was a great, I'm still happy to subscribe.
Did you buy
I don't-
anything other than the subscription? Like,
I will absolutely subscribe to them as long as they're in existence. If every boutique label offered it, let's just say in a perfect world we have that. I don't know if I would do it to anybody else. I do love Severin, but they're 50-50 with me where half the stuff they put out, like I've heard rumors of they might be putting out a 4K of pieces,
oh,
which I would totally be down for that. That might be coming for their halfway sale, which they kind of moved it because they don't want to compete with Vinegar Syndrome. But then they'll
to
put out
most
some
of it,
stuff.
I think they made the right decision doing that, just because it gives people more hype for another sale.
No, Greg brought up Invasion USA. Now that's an action film, obviously, but it's directed by Joseph Zito, who did Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and The Prowler. All those films, including Invasion USA, Tom Savini did the makeup effects. So at least you're going to get a violent action film, kind of like a
Yeah.
dog
Oh, it
tag.
is violent. It is violent. I love it. I'll be honest, when I saw Invasion USA, I was disappointed. Not because I didn't want it, because I was like, I've got the Blu-ray, and I thought it was a Blu-ray. When I saw it was a 4K, I was like, okay, at least it's an upgrade to a film I already own. Do you know what I mean? But personally, the instructor, I would have preferred it be Jim Carter or the Octagon or something like that. Lifeline, I was happy for. The two regional ones I've not seen, so I was happy for that. What was the other one? I'm missing one.
Homegrown Horrors Volume 3.
Homegrown Horrors, I'm happy for because I enjoyed the other two sets for what they were. Symphony of Fox, China Born 1 and 2, I already have the Eureka version, so I'll probably get the Vinegar Syndrome and get rid of the Eureka one. Was there another one? Oh, Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs. I'm okay with because it's a film that I enjoy because it's action. But I don't think it's the best halfway, but I think it's okay. But it was a bit disappointing for me. I'm not going to lie because I had my hopes up for Jim Carter. But to me, films are films. If I've got a subscription to it and they come, I'll watch them.
So let's talk about Severin with their halfway sale. Obviously, I think it's in June, right?
Yeah, it's in June, late June. It's like June 20th or something like that.
And they drop like a title a day, like the week leading.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors they might be putting out 10 films. That wouldn't surprise me because they
10,
usually,
I reckon.
and then probably 5 of them I'll want. I'm hoping, I know they have the rights to a Lamberto Bava TV movie, which is kind of like a take on his father's.
The Dino one, the blood dinner or Dino or something.
It's like his take on Black Sunday.
Okay, I know the film.
It's a TV film. I know they have the rights to it. It's actually got the girl that was in that Klaus Kinski film that Vinegar Syndrome put out, Paganini. The girl that she married, who probably really wasn't of age, Deborah Cabriogio, and she's also in Tinto Brass's Paprika.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thick, full-figured, nothing fake on this woman. She's got hips for days, and she's in the TV film, so she's not going to get naked in it. But I know they're putting that out. I've heard rumors of Pieces 4K. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some other big 4K, maybe a Dario film.
Yeah, Opera. It's Opera because they didn't do it this time, so it was
Opera. Maybe Opera.
I'm hoping to pick up Devil's Honey and all that. I know Devil's Honey won't be on sale, but I might pick that up, and the Church and all that.
I never picked up the Church, the Sect, and Cemetery Man. But the good thing is, by the time the sale comes around, they'll probably be discounted at a very good price.
They'll be $25 each, won't they?
Yeah, man. I'm just not down for dropping $40 on much of anything. It just,
I think it's too much.
I get it. I understand the licensing, the extra features. Most of these people are not going to do it for free. There's a lot of things that go into the cost. I do understand that, the slip covers and true, but as a fan, 50, 60 bucks. I mean, I never got into Laserdisc because of the prices. I'm not going to get into 4Ks because of that either.
I was going to interview Dario Argento once, and he asked me $450, and I said no.
No, that $150 to interview them would have been how's that guy's name? You could say, I could say, if you can remember his name, I'll say it.
Michael Ray Bauer.
I reached out to Michael Ray Bauer. I think he's a good guy. I really feel like he needs a boost with publicity, and and he does these YouTube videos, and I'm not trying to like put him down, but he's got some mental health issues going on. I don't think he's listening to his friends that are giving him advice, because the video I watched yesterday, he's like, well, don't tell me what to do. But then you can't reach out for help. You can't have it both ways. And long story short, I want to do a retrospective with him on the Willies. Even with the controversial director, Brian Peck. You don't know who he is, besides being in Return of the Living Dead. Look him up. He's in the same...
No, look him up.
If you know, he's a Victor Salva type. But I don't want to take away from all the people that worked hard on the film. I sent him a message on Instagram. I've only had 2 people in my life, and I've probably done well over 100 interviews, that ever wanted to be paid. One was Michael Ray Bauer, and 2 was Claudio Fragasso. Yes, the director of Troll 2 wanted to charge me, and we didn't even come up with the price, because I just, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. People understand the etiquette when it comes to interviews. I think most people are good about it. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to pay somebody to do an interview. It doesn't sit well with me.
I think it depends really on the person. Like somebody said to me, okay, $200 to interview, I don't know, John Carpenter. I'd be like, that's a bargain. If it's for a few hours, But it depends. If you ask me, it depends on the person, format, what it is. So if you're doing a full-on interview,
Okay, Greg, Freaked. I made the stupid mistake of selling my Anchor Bay DVD, which actually had one of the OG slipcovers. Now, that was with Fox. Fox has been absorbed by, Disney. So I don't know if we're ever going to see a Blu-ray of Freak. Maybe in another region where the rights are different. Maybe, like an Arrow could do it in the UK.
In that case, we need to call you a Muppet.
Stupid. You always think they're going to come out on Blu-ray. You never sell your VHS, DVD, whatever, because until you see it get replaced by something. Speaking of replaced, I got an order coming in today.
Oh.
I'm finally going to upgrade my DVD of The House by the Cemetery by Lucio Fulci.
Oh, with what version?
Well, I'm going straight to the Blue Underground 4K, which, again, I'm not the biggest 4K guy. I think you have to take the films a film-by-film basis, because I've seen some 4Ks that don't look better than DVD, to be honest with you. But well, I think all the stuff that Bill Lustig has done at Blue Underground has gotten phenomenal reviews.
They have, yeah. A lot of people say the Blue Undergrounds are the best.
Well, he doesn't put out a lot of films, but so the ironic thing is, I'm going to go from a DVD put out by Anchor Bay, which he was the head guy over there, right, with acquiring all those Euro horror titles. Now I'm going over to the Blue Underground, which is also owned by Bill Lustig, but all the the Suspiria, Tenebrae, New York Ripper, House by the Cemetery. Go over to Synapse Reel Film real quick. The Kindred is perfection. The Kindred is flawless, because that's Don May Jr. is like Bill Lustig, where they're kind of the old school boutique label guys, and they're not about quantity, they're about quality. So they'll take their time and literally pick it apart and take away all that grain. So I'm going to watch House by the Cemetery 4K tonight. It's my favorite Fulci film.
My favorite bit is where the kid gets it.
Bob? Is it Bob?
I believe so,
of Gates of Hell.
I don't remember his name. All I remember is that.
I
Best scene in
think
the
that's the
movie.
opening kill.
Yeah, best scene in the movie.
Dr. Freudstein. Yeah.
I've got, I mean, I've got the Arrow versions of See the Living Dead and House by Cemetery, and they look horrible. Not the quality, but the artwork.
I want to give people the next video we're going to record.
All right.
I want to give a sneak peek, but we're not going to talk about the films. One from you and one from me, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready? Let's do. Why would I put this up? This
Because
is
it's going to be in the video.
the next video that Malcolm and I are going to do are our favorite horror films from the 90s.
Yes.
So we're going to leave really soon. We're going to say our goodbyes, but I want to kind of give a tease because I think that will bring people back
I
to
think
kind
it
of know
will.
what's next. Not everything is according to schedule. Things change, but I think we're definitely going to do a live video with our favorites from the
Yes.
90s. Wishmaster is on Malcolm's list, and
Yep.
one of my top picks is
Ooh.
Tales
This
from the
movie
Dark
horrified.
Side movie.
You know that movie horrified me for years because I had nightmares over the gargoyle.
You're the gargoyle. No, but hey, I'll put up a date when we have this video when we're going to do it. I want to probably do it on a Monday. I'm thinking the first Monday of June, if you're available, we'll do it like in the
Hey, I'm
afternoon.
available. Yeah, I can do that.
So we're going to do the next video Malcolm and I are going to do are going to be our favorite horror films of the 90s, the decade that gets so much grief and crap from people. And I feel like I want to shine a light on it, give it some love. I'm not going to do every decade. I just want to do the 90s just because it came after the 80s and it had so much to live up to that I think it was impossible, no matter what films came out, that anybody was going to like the 90s compared to.
Yeah.
And it looks like Greg
and you know,
loves
love the
Wishmaster.
Wishmaster, eh? If you didn't, I'd be surprised. It's a classic.
So I think that's it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Greg, all the people that commented, thank you for making this fun and engaging. I know Sunday during a 3-day weekend is probably not ideal to do a video, but hey, we got a good response either way. So
I just want to say quickly, sorry guys if I wasn't on the ball today. It's been a very hectic couple of weeks, but I was very glad to be here with Bene, and I'm looking forward to our next video.
All right, folks, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.